stick around, come through and dig the sound of the fly brown 6060 cycle. Who those hits around?
Welcome to another exciting episode of Wine Down with Kev. Thank you for tuning in today to our live stream. Whether you're watching us on YouTube, Instagram, or Facebook, thank you. You are appreciated. Special thanks goes out to all of you that have already hit the subscribe and the notification button. We're growing week over week over week. Thank you. We could not do it without you. Also, thank you to my sponsors that you'll see flashing on the screen behind me. DJ Carol Media, all things social media. Just had DJ on our Think and Grow Digital platform. Anything you're looking to do to grow your agency with social media, reach out to Carol Media. To our other sponsor, to Canopy Connect. Love what they are doing. If you're looking for easier ways, if you want to make it easier for your customers, your clients, your prospects to do business with you, reach out to Canopy Connect. They make the information gathering part of our insurance business so easy. Just text a link, just email a link, let your customers send it back. Make this thing work easily, digitally, and seamlessly. Use Canopy Connect. Last but definitely not least, nothing happens without the money. Big thanks to Wintrust Financial. That being said, thank you all for tuning in today for another exciting episode of Wine Down with Kev as we continue on our journey across the great US of A, talking to 50 agents from 50 different states, doing 50 podcasts. Today, we are going to the great state of Texas, more specifically, the state of Houston, where we'll speak to my good friend, fellow Allstate agent. He's an elite agent. He's an award-winning agent. He's an agent that gives back to the community where he works and lives. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together and give a warm Wine Down with Kev welcome to Mike Daniels.
Hey, thanks for having me, Kevin. That's way too kind. But
no. You deserve it all, man. You deserve it all, Mike. You are an agent amongst agents, a leader amongst friends. I usually like to start off with your backstory and how long you've been here. But for you, man, I want to start off with the Texas Leaders Forum. How are you doing coming off being one of the leaders and putting together one of the best events in the country every year?
Well, I'm relieved that it went well. First of all, there's a lot of stress and tension and things that go on behind the scenes to make something successful like that. So obviously relieved that it went well. And we've gotten so much great feedback from agents all across the country and feedback from, the vendors that showed up to help sponsor things. So it makes you feel good when both sides of that equation are
when everything comes together.
A pretty easy thing for us to put together. Oh yeah, but it's been a pretty easy thing to put together because of all the great people that help put it together. And a lot of agents that are involved. We couldn't do it without Laura Harris, Julie Alvarenga, Chris Maxwell. They're knee deep in it with me, and they're just amazing leaders, amazing agents.
I love it. Shout out to Laura Harris, Bill Eggers, some of the founders of the Texas Leaders Forum. Really the starting point for the country where all agents we have our New York Forum, there's the Midwest Forum, but Texas Leaders, we give credit and respect where it's due. It's the one that started it all. And thank you and Kristen and Julie and everyone else that's working with the vets that started it, partnering with them and doing everything to continue to drive it forward. So, Mike, I got to do one thing. I got to go on Facebook and share this podcast to the Texas Leaders Forum page because people ask me, how can they see this when we go live? So I'm sharing it to the Texas Leaders Forum page now. People want to hear from you and what you did. So, Mike, one thing that's really relatable and easy, I've been doing 50 podcasts with 50 agents from 50 states. today is wrap-up day. It's my last day recording it. How many states did agents come from to the Texas Leaders Forum? Because I thought that was very impressive. You got them from Alaska to far north. What was the bottom line number that you got, and how many states did they come from?
We were just over 400 total attendees, 36 states. And, we would love to have all 50. It's really, really difficult sometimes to maybe get a Wyoming or an Idaho. But the fact that we got an agent to come down from Alaska,
Yes.
It's a testament that we're reaching far and wide. And it's been a very, very positive environment for agents from all across the country with all kinds of unique challenges. So we're very, very happy with that, but we think we can grow it.
I think you can. I'm your biggest fan. I'm the biggest advocate. Before I even talk about the amazing content and what we learned in the forum, who gets credit for choosing that amazing location of downtown Arlington, Texas Live? I need to go back down there just with my family to hang out with no business going on at all.
Well, I wish I could take credit for it. I was tasked with finding a location, but Mark De La Paz helps run our conference, and he was the original one that had the suggestion for that area. And we looked at a lot of different things before I saw that. And the first time I walked into that area, and with all of the amenities around, all the restaurants, walking to Globe Life Field, it just kind of felt like it was home for that event. And the great thing is when you show up at the event, you don't need a car. There's so many things to do right there within walking distance. I mean, the Globe Life Field where the Rangers play, it's a 2-minute walk from the hotel. It's been an amazing venue. And we're very, very blessed to have found that and gotten in to hosting there.
No,
so Mark De La Paz is the one.
Well, shout out to Mark. Great job with that. For me, I'm not a big driver to start with, but definitely when I'm out of state on vacation, I like to get to my destination and stay there. And you can do that. And there's nothing but stuff to do. Globe Life Stadium, big shout out to Justin Slocum for getting tickets for everybody to enjoy the Rangers game. My son and I had fun with that. And then I did a morning walk, and I did a FaceTime call with my wife, and I actually walked across the bridge to Cowboy Stadium and told her where I was at. So that is just like what's in that walking distance area. There is no competing second place that I've been to in the country that really has all of that within walking distance.
Yeah, it's been amazing. It's just a fun time. And, we've already started talking about how we can, exceed those expectations for next year. And, I think Justin Slocum is a key part of helping find some entertainment options. And I think he's got some things up his sleeve that people might want to be a part of next year.
Well, I'm definitely excited, looking forward to it. One more shout out to Justin, just for the vendor, because he gave the vendor that had the hat. So I was able to get my first customized cowboy hat, but I got to go back because I've been told that there's some other place I need to go to get. I've been told I need to get to the stockyard to get even a more better Texas experience. So, but thank you, Justin, for the vendor. Whatever you have in mind for entertainment, I'm down with it. And big shout out to Drew from Smart Financial. He got on there and he sang and he really rocked the mic. Were you back there during the happy hour when Drew sang for us a little bit?
I was, and I was surprised that, there's a lot of talented people in this world, right? When he got up and sang, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know if it was just going to be like karaoke hour or
no,
but it was still singing. It was good, and I really enjoyed seeing that. So, I don't think I could ever get on stage and sing in front of more than maybe 2 people. So the fact that he did that with 400 people out there hanging out, hats off to him. But he was fantastic. He's a fun guy.
Yeah. Oh, he's a very fun guy, and kudos to you if you can sing in front of two people. The good Lord has given me my fair share of gifts. Singing is not one of them. That's not one of them. I can talk in front of an unlimited amount of people, but I can't sing, and I will not tell one joke. I think telling a joke in front of an audience is one of the hardest things in the world, and I can't do it. So I'm open to booking for everything, not singing and not comedy, but. Hey, DJ, what's up? I'm in the middle of recording the podcast.
I know, man.
No, yeah. So, this guy, we want to talk about something different. He's trying to get his website and his Google My Business page going.
Yeah, I know.
Everybody knows you helped me to get to the 2 Comma Club, but and be seen by a couple of million people. But this person wants to do something different. They're trying to run ads to their book of business, their model line campaigns and stuff like that.
I know, Kev.
Oh, man. Well, DJ, talk to the people, man, so I can get back to the podcast. How can you help?
Yeah, man. So listen, I can help you by running monoline ads to your auto, your home, as well as optimizing your website, your Google business profile, and your social media outlets. We can do the exact same thing we've done for Kevin over the years and get you in front of millions of sets of eyeballs to help you grow your business. Contact Carroll Media today. Kev, let them know.
DJ, I appreciate you jumping in the podcast. Hit up Carroll Media. DJ, I got to go. I got to get back to the podcast.
I know.
Mike, let's go ahead and get to know you a little bit. Let's open it up with me asking you my traditional opening question. What do you love about being an Allstate agent?
That's something that's probably changed quite a bit over the course of the career. When I first became an agent, the idea of becoming an entrepreneur and being able to drive our own, towards our own destiny versus being in a corporate environment was really, really big. And, it's changed our lives a lot financially from terms of opportunity. And so now my focus is less on that and more on creating opportunity for the folks that work in our offices. And we've got 25 families that are dependent upon our Allstate agency, and we want to grow that as well. That journey is ever changing, and being able to provide opportunity for others I think that's the biggest blessing when you see people become super successful. And I think a lot of people in the Allstate world know that Julie Alvarenga used to work in my office, and now she's an extremely successful agent. And she's the second employee that I've had that's opened an agency, and I'd love to see more down the road. But it's fun to see them change family trees. It's really, really exciting. And, I couldn't be anything but happy for people when those things occur, because it's a big change for many, many people. I mean, even you talk about, we have quite a few salespeople that have not had an opportunity in this world before that was meaningful, that now, they make well into the 6 figures selling insurance. And so that's a big deal for a lot of people. So I love the fact that we can give opportunity to people.
I love it. That's a tremendous answer. I'm going to dig into the 25 families and Julie and your other agents, but I want to ask you your backstory first. But first, I want you to shout out your beautiful family. I was scrolling your Facebook page. I saw some important people in your life. So talk a little bit about yourself and your family and show them some love, because they're going to listen to and watch this podcast, and I don't want to get to the end and not give you a chance to do that.
Yeah. So I've been married for 21 and a half years now to my wife, Jill. And we have 2 children. Colt is our oldest. He's 15 years old. He's soon going to be driving. So I'm sure insurance rates are going to go up in Texas, but because of him. But he's fun. He's a great kid. I tease him all the time about his driving.
Nice.
And then my daughter Lizzie is 13 years old, and both of those kids are very, very active. My son plays baseball, and my daughter rides horseback. She plays golf and basketball, so she's extremely active. And so a lot of our time is, just basically being chauffeurs to their events, but I also coach one of the baseball teams that Colt plays on. So, and that's one of the ways that I like to give back in the community as well, is to try to facilitate some learning through baseball for a lot of these teenage boys. But my family is
I
great.
love it.
It's fantastic.
No, I love that you get a chance to coach, and shout out to Colt and Lizzie, and you having a chance to enjoy them in sports. Do you find the time that you have with your family to be the most valuable part of the job? Being able to be there, being able to coach, being able to show up?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we have as much freedom as we can design within our organization. And so, one of the things when I worked on the corporate side, me and my wife both came from retail management. And there were times when we were young when we worked 60, 70, sometimes 80 hours in a week. And, I didn't want to do that forever. And sometimes we make sacrifices to get somewhere that we want to be. And so when I, transitioned into this journey, I wanted to create an environment where if the kids had something going on, I can be there. I can be there. And so, when I think about designing organizations as far as an entrepreneur, I think one of the biggest and most important things is to design that with the thought of being flexible with all the things that the family has. It seems like yesterday that the kids were born.
Yes.
And both of them will be in high school next year, and pretty soon they're going to be gone.
Yes. And what they're going to remember is the memories that you created with them. They're not interested in how many policies we sell or anything else. They're interested in my children being of age that they're out of the household. And unfortunately, all my chauffeuring, the great chauffeuring job I had, taking them to and from games and practices and private training, all of that has ended. And what I remember, Mike, is not the games themselves. I remember the car rides. I remember the conversations with how you handled this and how you handled that.
Yes, absolutely. And, I get more of that time with my son because of the baseball, because I am coaching that than I do my daughter. I kind of miss a little bit of that, but I love the fact that she's super competitive with basketball and basketball and horseback and even golf. And we can talk through some of those things, but me and my son have a pretty special bond as far as, all the baseball talks. What happened here? What could have happened? How do you handle that as a leader? How do you deal with, failure? Because, sports is the biggest teacher of failure that these kids can get. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of ways that they can learn this, but sports is a really fantastic way for them to learn about failure and hard work and discipline. So, I love for kids to be involved in sports as much as they can, or something competitive as much as they can, because this world is, everything we do is a competition. I mean, you think about it, you go to college, you're going to be competing for a girlfriend or boyfriend. You're going to be competing to get the best grade. You're going to be competing for a job at the end of college. And then when you get into the real world, you're competing for an opportunity, economically for your family. So competition never ends. It's just how you deal with it, right?
I love that you said that sports is a teacher of how to deal with failure. I've always seen it that way. Just to talk the baseball analogy, that it's okay to miss the ball 7 times, but if you can hit the ball 3 out of 10 times, you may go to the Hall of Fame. And that's a pretty darn good career.
Yes.
How do you set that analogy up with salespeople in your agency about being comfortable with how many times they're not going to make the sale and how comfortable they have to be with the reverse side of their close ratio? If they're closing 20%, how do you teach them to be comfortable with missing the deal 8 out of 10 times?
Well, no's are the easiest way to the next yes. We've heard that before, right? So getting a no means that you've given them, you potentially have given them all the information that they need. They can make a decision. Maybe you did a good job of that. Maybe you didn't. We can always be introspective of whether or not, our process was good, but we really try to focus on the process and not the result, whether it's sports, whether it's business, whatever. So the process is the most important piece. It's, if I'm talking about a baseball game, it's how did you approach the at bat? If I'm talking about a sales process, how did you approach that customer? Did you educate them? Did you ask for the sale? Did you do all the little things that are necessary? The little things make big differences. And then the final piece of this, especially on sales, is you'll see people get into kind of a lull as far as closing, and they get frustrated, and it can affect the way they handle the next customer or the next prospect. The biggest thing is let's just focus on one thing. Do the process as best you can. Continue to fill the pipeline. I don't know when Kevin Span's going to be ready to answer the call on the sales follow-up. I don't know what's going on in his life. He may not just be ready today, but we're frustrated because we've got 10 of you that we're not able to close, but they do want to buy from us, right?
Yes.
We just don't know what's going on in the background. Then all of a sudden, you don't sell anything for 4 or 5 days, and then you've got 6 or 7 people that are ready to go. So if you focus on filling the pipeline with a consistent process, eventually the good things happen. That's again, that's control what we can control, right?
Hey, Ray, it's Kevin. What's up?
Hey, what's going on, man?
Nothing, man. You guys have been helping me out for a while with all the digital things you can do at Use Canopy, but some of my guys, they're still having a hard time adjusting to the digital age. Talk to the people, Ray, please.
Yes, sir. Well, Canopy Connect is the insurance data intake platform. Send a link out to your prospect. They, click on it, find their insurance carrier. We got like 350 insurance carriers on there. Click that, sign in, and they can be done there. You can ask them a few more questions you want, but we're going to pull all that insurance information, give it to you right in a nice dashboard.
That sounds pretty quick. What are we talking? 2 or 3 minutes?
Less. You can do that in 30 seconds, man.
Wow. Nick, you're a big time marketing guy. What do you think?
I think Canopy Connect is one of those tools that everybody should have in their back pocket. Makes it easy to use. You can send it out in emails and text messages. You can use it in social media campaigns, X-Date campaigns. All of those methods will work with Canopy Connect.
Guys, I got to get back to the podcast, but you heard it right here. Use Canopy Connect. Go digital. Leave old school in the past. Nick and Ray, I'll catch you guys later. Easy.
Let's go. See you.
They're not sure what's not right, but it's when it's just this great 100% purely polished pitch, I think sometimes that turns people off.
Oh, it does, Mike. We are being in the digital age that we live in. We have to work hard to have a process and be good, but not so polished that we sound like AI. So been showing, my wife just some videos and reels, and she's like, how do you know what's AI? I said, well, when we talk, we're going to mess up a few words. I'm going to hem and haw on this podcast, and we're live streaming. We won't edit it. We won't clean it up, because in real life, Kevin will fumble some words. Ditto in a sales call. I'm going to mess a few things up, and that's an absolute certainty, but that's my humanity. And I think we all have that humanity, and we have to be comfortable with it just to make the call, have the conversation. If I mess up a couple of words, I'll say, my bad, Mike, that's not what I meant to say, and be comfortable with that.
And that's one of the most endearing qualities someone can have, is to be able to say, hey, I'm sorry, I messed this up, I did this, or, just the humility of being, human is a big deal in this world. And so I do believe that's an endearing quality, the complete authenticity with people at all times. I asked a friend of mine that's been on your podcast, should I prepare for this? I'm like, no, just you. And I was like, well, that's where I was going, but I just want to make sure that there's nothing I really should be thinking about preparation wise. No, just be you. I can do that. That's easy.
Everybody else is taken, Mike. I want the version of Mike that I've talked to, that I've interacted with my last couple of times down to Texas. Everybody else in the world is taken. So, Mike, let's get into your agency. 25 families, 25 people, 2 that have become an agent. What are you looking for? What kind of qualities are you looking for in a person that wants to become a part of your team?
I love ambition, for one. So ambitious people. I like finding people that are hungry, that have that ambition, that haven't really had a ton of opportunity put in front of them before.
Mm.
I can, once someone gets that little taste of success, and are able to see big differences, a lot of times it ignites a fire that allows them to really, really take off. And so I don't need the polished person that's been doing it for 20 years. I'm not opposed to it. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But if I can find someone that's raw, that hasn't had that opportunity, and we can, put an opportunity in front of them, and let's be frank here, we say we put an opportunity in front of them, they're earning it through, their actions. They get to earn it every day through their actions. And so I've had people, come to me and say, hey, I really appreciate the opportunity. You really gave me something. No, I didn't give you anything. You earned it. Just remember,
Yes.
You earned it.
Yes.
So
Yes.
Did we put it there? Did we allow you to take advantage of it? Sure. But you're earning that opportunity. I think it's important for people to hear that, because so many times if we're constantly telling them, hey, we've given you an opportunity, it's not us, it's them.
Yeah, they study for the test. I've never sat with one candidate where I helped them get through the state exam. They did that by themselves. You got to pass the test. You got to do the work. Mike, let's talk about Houston. Born and raised in Houston, or you've been there since you've had the agency?
So I grew up in a smaller town between Dallas and Houston, and it's a town of about 2,000 people. And when I was 16 years old, I moved to Alaska, and I lived in Alaska for 12 years. It's where I met my wife. And since then I've lived in Colorado for 5 years, and then came back to Texas when my uncle was getting ready to retire. And, it's kind of I'll make this a really short story, but my uncle always did well. He was an Allstate agent, started in the booth. And I told him for years when I was, I don't know, maybe when I started 12, 13 years old, I started telling him, hey, I'm going to buy your agency one day. Wow. And he just realized, okay, whatever, big boy. and every year we talked about it. And so when he got ready to retire and he was kind of done, he called me one day. He goes, you still serious about that? I said, yeah, I'm serious. Wow. I knew that it was a good business. And I knew that retail would teach me a lot about sales and discipline and stuff like that. And I could do that for a while. And I knew he wasn't going to be an agent forever. Now, had he not called me to sell that to me, I don't know where I would be. I'd find my way, but that was a huge opportunity for me. And I took it very, very seriously. And we've been very fortunate that things have worked out for us.
I love it. When did you take the leap? When did you actually buy the agency? What year?
January 1 of 2009 is my appointment date.
I love
We're
it.
I
love it.
A little over 16 years in.
What did you see in your uncle's lifestyle that made you want to be an agent?
Well, I mean, I think the big thing was that, a lot of the family was very middle class. They all worked hard, but I knew that he was good at sales, and I liked talking to people. I always, even as a kid, I talked to adults like an adult would, I guess. And I just kind of felt like I would fit into that kind of thing as far as what he does. But lifestyle wise, he had a boat that he liked to go offshore fishing with. It's not really my thing, but you start thinking, even as a teenager, you're like, okay, if someone's got a boat that they're taking offshore fishing, they're probably doing something right. They're very successful, right?
Yes.
So you see little things like that, and that's, we see agents now that drive crazy cars, that have multi-million-dollar houses, and there's a lot of opportunity in this business. I'm pretty simple. I've got my house. I like to travel a little bit, but I don't drive a fancy car. I don't do any of that stuff. But I think that boat was one of those things that was kind of a telling sign that, I knew he was pretty tight with money. He wouldn't buy that boat if he wasn't doing well.
No, I like that observation. I try not to let my my Rolexes, my Rollies shine too much when I'm on the podcast, or I don't own any of that stuff. I'm a simple guy. I'm a simple guy as well.
Same.
How did life take you to Alaska? What retail were you with, if you don't mind sharing? How did life take you to Alaska and Colorado and those different places?
Well, my parents were entrepreneurs when I was growing up, so that was another thing that influenced me a little bit. And mid '80s in Texas, the economy was really bad, and their business went under. And eventually we moved to Alaska. I was 16 years old. They moved up there for different opportunities, and but I worked in a Sears store. My uncle, that was an Allstate agent, started at a Sears store before he transitioned to Allstate, and then I've had gone to work for Lowe's and some other things in Colorado. So I've been around a little bit. And that was probably one of the best training pieces that we could have, is to learn that kind of business. That's a tough business. And there's a lot of hours
Retail's
involved.
very tough.
Yeah.
A lot of great people come from retail when they get here and they have the opportunity to have weekends off and holidays with their family.
Yeah.
It's a huge deal. Mike, let's dive into H-Town. Let's dive into Houston a little bit. Call me naive, but I did not know about the weather-related problems in the Houston area until the big flood that happened a couple of years ago. I can't name the flood, but I just saw the water on all the videos and the reels. Talk to me about, educate the audience a little bit about where Houston sits in the Gulf and what are some of the issues that come with that and the value of the local agent.
Well, Houston's a port city. Now, this is where it's kind of difficult to explain, but Houston's a huge, sprawling city, and it's a bayou city. They call it the Bayou City, right?
Okay.
So flooding has always been a problem here. There's the center of Houston, downtown Houston, is probably 40 to 50 miles from the coast. Okay. But when you have hurricanes that come in and you've got a bayou city, we can get 20 or 30 inches of rain with a hurricane. Hurricane Harvey, I think, dropped maybe 38 inches of rain on my house in a couple of days. And so there's nowhere for that water to go quickly. And so Hurricane Harvey might be the one you're talking about, but we've had several major floods in the last 10 years, probably 4 really, really big floods. But Harvey was really, really rough for the city of Houston. It was a bad windstorm down on the coast, but it kind of stalled out down there, and it just dropped rain band after rain band. So the interesting thing about Houston is that you could drive 100 miles east to west and almost 100 miles north to south, and you're still in some sort of city. I mean, it's all suburb, but you don't really hit farmland, you don't really get out of the city. It's a huge, huge sprawling area. So when you start thinking about a flood of that magnitude with Harvey, you're talking about, I think there was 600,000 cars that were totaled. Wow. So, I mean, it's a crazy big problem. And so for us, for the insurance industry, it's very, very challenging. And I think in our agency, I think our total claim count was maybe 1,200. Wow. So there's a lot of flood.
That's a lot. Talk about the value of a local agent as opposed to a .com or an 800 number. When you talk about a bayou city, with all my tenure in this business, I don't know that intuitively. So if someone buys a policy online, what are some of the things that are intuitive that you drill down in your agency as it relates to those water issues and making sure that homes and cars are properly covered?
Well, there's multiple layers of what we can do. And I think, when you have a city like Houston, water issues are one thing, right? So, a lot of people aren't sure how flood insurance works. And we get a lot of transplants in from other states. And I think the biggest piece that people are not really educated about consistently from a 1-800 number is that about 40% of all flood victims are not in a floodplain.
Yes.
So that
Yes.
means that if you go and look and say, oh no, my house isn't in a floodplain. Okay. That doesn't mean you won't get flooded. That doesn't
Right.
mean that there's not an opportunity to buy a flood policy that's very inexpensive that covers, and when you start talking about water in your house, a couple of inches of water, we're talking $50,000-$60,000 of damage, real
Yeah.
easy.
Very easy.
All of the insulation in the walls, it wicks the moisture up. So you're cutting 4 feet of drywall throughout the house. It can be really, really devastating. So that's one piece of it. I think the other piece is there's so many cars on the road, and there are so many $100,000 cars on the road. I mean, everything's 100, new trucks now, 80,000, 85,000, not uncommon. And our state minimum for property damage is 25.
Wow.
So when you start thinking about this, $25,000 doesn't buy much of a used car anymore.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's one of the things that I think that's probably one of the biggest deficiencies is the liability limits on auto insurance, more so than anything else. I think the flood piece is big, but the liability limits on auto insurance is a huge deficiency for the vast majority of customers out there. I don't think they even realize. Now, when they have an accident, they find out pretty quick.
Right.
Oh, 25,000, that's gone.
Right.
That.
In a minute.
Doesn't take much.
In a minute.
Yep.
Mike, well said. I can see the role that your agency plays in educating consumers to get them better prepared and handling these things like Harvey any claim. Is there any one claim that stands out where a customer took the right advice, had the right limits with your agency, and you were able to put them back together pretty quickly? Oh,
there's tons of examples. I mean, we had a client that was driving down. They're coming back home from outside of Houston, and there was someone on the side of the road that was changing a tire, and these folks had high limits, and they could not see that person. That person was a couple of feet out in the lane, and they hit him and they killed him. And there's lawsuits around this stuff. People, even if you're in the right of way, you can be sued, right?
Of course.
But having the right coverage allows them to have the right legal counsel, and without the out-of-pocket expense of having that legal counsel. And so that was a sad situation, because not only are they dealing with, oh my God, I just killed somebody, but they're also dealing with, oh my God, their family is suing us.
Yeah. What
the heck's going to happen? And so, you can feel good that you educated a customer the right way, and that they, that their outcome was better because of what you did. I would wish that we could never have, fatalities on the road, but it's a fact of life, and it happens when you're not necessarily at fault. But that, you're still impacted by it. So, it felt good that we could help on the financial side, right? You still feel bad for that customer because emotionally they're still disturbed. And I wish there was something we could do on that side of it, but giving them a little bit of peace of mind goes a long way.
And I think you did. Our job is not to compete in this price game, but it's to show up for people on the worst day of their life. And I'm pretty confident just sharing that story and that being top of mind for you. I'm very confident that you did. Mike, let's pivot a little bit. You run an extremely large agency. You've got 25 employees. What's a typical day like you for today? What's your morning routine?
I wake up about 4 o'clock every day, Kevin, and I am cursed. I've been that way since I was a kid, and usually that's when I start doing, looking at any emails that came in the evening before, and just distributing those, and then I start looking at reports and just kind of diving into yesterday's new business, any of the new reports that came out, whether it's compensation, bonus, all of these different things that go on. And really just trying to figure out, all right, are there deficiencies that we need to work on today? And, there are so many things in our business that we can look at. I just try to pick one or two things and I'll talk to my agency manager, my operations manager, Just about every day. Not every day. Sometimes it's just text message or whatever. But I work from home most of the time, and I'm very flexible. But I'm pretty busy from 4 a.m. till 10 a.m. And then at that point, I am more fluid with what I'm doing. I might be doing something around the house, but every hour I'm checking in to see what's going on in the office and spend 10 or 15 minutes here or there doing it. But the vast majority of my work time is between 4 and 10 a.m. And then just trying to make sure we plan to get other things done, delegating and then inspecting, what we delegate.
I love it, Mike. I'm a card carrying member of the 5 a.m. club. Don't know if I can get into the 4 a.m. club. I wake up that time naturally. I don't own an alarm clock, and I've been that way my whole life to wake up early and get started. That's a huge competitive advantage for you to be up out of bed, into the email right away. Anything else before you go, or you're up and you're at it right away?
No, that's the first thing. I get up and just come to the computer and just start working email reports and all of that stuff. And it's just the way I'm built. It's the easiest way for me. When I wake up, I'm alert right away. I don't drink coffee. I will have a Monster energy drink during the day, but I'm not a coffee drinker. I'm just I don't own an alarm clock. I'm like you. That's just the way my body's wired to wake up. And so, 8:30 or 9 o'clock, if I sit down to watch a TV show with the wife, I'm out. Once the brain stops, I'm out.
I love it. And the stuff is on our mind anyway, so we get to it. So you've got your morning routine, you're up, you're at it. Kids are out of school. The mid-afternoon, I know it's packed from 3 o'clock, practices, training, whatever those duties are, coach driving now. How do you wind down at the end of the day?
Well, most of the time I'm at baseball practice fairly late, so that's a big part of it. There are days that I will go and I might go play poker for a couple of hours. It's one of my passions. That's one of the places that I can go where I can kind of unplug a little bit and I'm not thinking about work. Generally, if I'm just, if I'm at the house, even if I'm doing a project around the house or whatever, as an entrepreneur, your business is always, you're never really off, right?
No,
it's always
no.
You could be out grilling a steak and you're like, oh goodness, I just thought of something I need to accomplish, right? and so it just never turns off. So finding things where it can turn off is good. I play golf here and there, not as often as I should.
That's a golf is a tough game that absolutely requires
we watch Survivor every week.
I love it. So Survivor fan. Okay. That's one. Survivor has a big community following. The next episode of Survivor that I watch will be the first one for me. But that's a good getaway as a business person. It allows you to see. I think that's why I love watching sports. It's kind of like my escape to watch someone do something harder than what I'm working on. So that gives me a little bit of peace and a little time to decompress. Mike, as we get ready to land the plane, anything else you're working on, anything coming up, your baseball team, anything you want to talk about that I didn't ask you about?
Well, our baseball team is going to Destin, Florida for a World Series tournament, which is a big deal.
Wide world of sports.
We will have 16, 15-year-olds in that tournament, and we're very excited to take. There's quite a few of these boys that have not traveled the way we're going to travel, and we're going to take them deep sea fishing. Many of them never done that.
Nice.
We're going to do a lot of fun. So we're creating a unique experience for the boys, but still centered around, baseball and that kind of thing. And then, so that's something that we're doing with the baseball team. And, one of my favorite places in the world is Hawaii, and we're going to go to Hawaii in July as a family and just really kind of unplug from, the work life and from the busy life and just do family stuff for 12 days out in Hawaii. So I'm excited about that. I love to travel.
I love it.
So anytime I can get away and get the family away to do something where we're more unplugged is a good thing.
It's a beautiful thing. I definitely connect with your baseball team journey going down to Disney, down to Wide World of Sports. And I like that you're doing some things away from the game to teach them. I've done that with teams I coached. I coached a lot of basketball. So if we played in Pennsylvania, I'd take the kids to Amish country and drive slowly behind the horses and buggies so they can see what it's about. The one thing I remember, we had an AAU tournament in Cocoa Beach, Florida, and we got to see a rocket launch. So we stood on the beach, 1 o'clock in the morning to see that happen, because those are the things beyond the games that you'll always remember. And kudos to you and the family. Have an amazing time in Hawaii, one of our favorite places to go to really unplug, wind down, and decompress. Mike, any encouraging words for anybody out there that's listening to this, may have a hard time? You have this excellent, calm demeanor. If you can close with some encouraging words to anybody in business or just in life having a hard time, I'd love to hear it.
I think the one thing I try to always focus on, is being positive, trying to find what the opportunity is, in attacking that opportunity with everything you've got. So go attack it, find an opportunity to attack it. It's all you can do. And I've talked about, I've been on stage a couple times talking to entrepreneurs and things like that. And I think one of the most important messages that I've ever been able to give, and I stole this from someone else, and this is actually a Will Smith thing, right? And he said there's no plan B.
Yeah.
There's only plan A.
Yes.
Plan B only detracts from plan A.
Yes.
So if you're constantly thinking about, well, if this doesn't work out, I'm going to do that, you're facilitating that not working out by not putting your full focus into plan A. So find what your plan A is and go get it.
Yes.
Go get it. Don't create plan Bs. Plan Bs are a waste of time, and they help you facilitate failure.
Let's go. Mike, that's powerful. I'm making those notes for myself. Plan A all the way. Thank you, Mike. You've been absolutely phenomenal. Thank you to everyone that watched this on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, the live stream. If you're in the Texas Leaders Forum Facebook page right now, thank you. Special thanks to all of you that have already subscribed and hit the notifications page. If you'd like to know when great content like this is coming out, please hit that subscribe and notification button below. Join us. You'll find out when this is coming out. Mike, big thanks to you. Big thanks to my sponsors, Carol Media, Everything Social Media, Canopy Connect, Everything Digital, and Wintrust Financial Bank. So thank you again. Please, everybody that's tuned in, show some love in the comments. Put your warm Wine Down with Kev hands together. Big thanks to our special guest today, H-Town, Houston, Mike Daniels.
Thank you for having me, Kevin.